Good afternoon, everyone. So today we'll be going into CSS. We are done with the HTML class. Today, this was our last course for HTML classes, and we did the video and the audio.
He has a candle.
This is what we do.
He has a candle.
This is the audio.
So on it.
So this was it.
Okay.
So what I want to do now is we have learned about the HTML stuff on our HTML video. We must have learned about the inline styling, the external, and all of that. So I won't be wasting much time on that. We have also learned what we call the selector. So if you haven't watched the video for HTML, you are missing a lot. So today let's dive into CSS, learning about CSS. Okay, so now in CSS there are things that makes up the coding language, right? There are things that makes up the code, and one is a selector. Right, these are the building blocks for the start and the end tag. This close, this opens, and this close, right? So for the name of the selector carries every code that is written in between these building blocks, right? Now the next is the property. So the property is like the code with a function. Then you input your value. Now for example, color is the property, right? You input these two dots, right, and a semicolon at the ending. Color is a property, and the property for color is to change the color of any text, right? To change the color of any text, right? So now what is the value to input? Now since you know it's for color, you know that the value to input is a color, right? So you put in a color blue, right? This is how it's been done, right? Then the semicolon at the back is to break the line code, to move you to the next line, because you see that there are dots when you are coding, right? The dots there, the red dot are showing errors. So what if I don't break this line, right? If I don't put the semicolon and I come down to write another code to say background. Now when you are saying background, we have background color. So if you want to input background color, you can just be specific at the spot to say background color red. Now there are some point that we get to, you see that the computer have detected an error because I did not break up this code. Now what it means is that this code is not actually like this, it's like this. This is how it is. So this code is, this blue is also with this background color red and stuff, and this, you can see this. So let me clean this. Now you see that the computer detected no errors, because the computer won't still understand what you are doing, right? Because this is a property, right? This is a value, this is another property, and this is the value. Now let's give this to a selector. We know the different types of selector we have. We have the tag name selector, we have the class name, we have a lot of selectors, right? So now let's talk about this. So let's go to the body. Let's use the body, the tag name selector. Now you see that it's totally white. The computer does not understand what you're saying, right? But if I clean this off, if I clean the color off, the background is not going to be red as well. The computer still doesn't understand what you're saying unless I add this. Now the computer understands that this is a property and this is a value. So you must be careful about what you choose. Now there are a lot of property in CSS that you need to know. So you know that the background color now is to change the background of something, to change the color of a background of an element that has a background. Let me put it that way, because some elements don't have a background. Some texts don't have a background, right? You can add a background to them, right? Don't get me wrong, you can add a background to them. So what I'll be doing in this CSS class is that I'll actually be styling these buttons. So from there you get to learn a little bit of stuff, right? So that's the way I'll do it. So I'm going to be cutting out all these properties. So I'll cut them and I'll place them at the top. So like they'll give me a little space for my like something like this. So this will be, that is using JavaScript. We did HTML, JavaScript in our last JavaScript HTML class. So now, what do I know? I know that we have a form at first. I know that we have a label. Let me check if we have an image. Okay, I know we have an image. Now I can do something. I can come here and I will come here and I'll use the tag selector and select the form. Then I'll say background image. Yes, you can input a background image. Now I'm inputting a background image in the form, right? So the URL, I'm saying the name of the file, which is img. Now let's see how, now you see how this looks. The image is not really that nice. So I can start doing some things. Background repeat none, minimum height 100 v and all. The minimum height, that the smallest height, should be 100 v8, like 100%. Let me explain it in the way you understand. The background position, there are a lot of things. Let me just speak immediately. Sorry. Right now you see that the height is now very big and all, right? So we can now reduce the height from 100 VS to 20. Let's see. Okay, 20 is not even that enough, so we can do all this stuff, but yeah, this is not what I want to do actually. So I want to change the background color to green actually. You can use background as well. I'm going, then I'll change this to black. And let me just use this. Well, it seems a little bit nice, but not that nice though. So now we can add a, do we need to add a padding on a margin? Now, a padding property creates space inside the box. Padding creates space inside the box, while margin creates space outside the box, right? We'll get to the point where we'll learn about CSS box model, so you understand how this box of a thing works. So now, what do I want? I need space inside the box, so I'll use a padding and I'll say 2 AM. So I have a little bit of space inside, so I can say display flex. That is like a display property. So now you can see that it's now displayed in a row, right? So I can say flex direction. So it can either be column or row, right? So now you can see that the text is now positioned in the center. So there's something else you can now say. You can now say box sizing. There's a reason I'm putting in this property. Now I'm done working with that, but I want to do something else. I want to come over here and input a H2. right? Login form. So I want to make that F be bolder. So I have something like this. Now I can also come in here and give this command, text align center. That's all the text should be aligned. That's all the text should be arranged in the center. And you can see that that command was obeyed. But does it really match with what I want? It's matching a little bit, but I think only the form should be in the center. But let's continue. This is like a design idea. So now I'm done with the form styling. Now you see that every style I did applied to the form. But why is it that sometimes it's affecting this username and all this stuff inside of it? Why? So someone wants to ask now, because the form tag is like a parents to them, while they are the children, right? Because now we have the form tag all over here. Sorry, I'm looking for the ending tag. This is the form tag, right? So the ending tag is supposed to be somewhere, and I can't see that. So let's see something. Let me see something. The form tag wasn't even here, right? So it's like a parents to it, right? So that was why this thing applied to it. So now I can come over here and say form, right? This, like in the form tag, this is to prove that it's a parent. Check in the form tag, you will see that there is a form tag created in the HTML. Then give a dash. Now the dash means that inside that form tag you will see an input button. Sorry, you will see an input tag. Now do the styling to the input tag alone, not the form. Now what styling? Now I want to put a padding to add space inside this button. Inside this button it looks small, so I want to add space, right? So I can now say 2 em, right? You see how very big it is. So I can say 1.2 here, still very big. How about 0.8? Is it still very big? Let's see if we can manage 0.7. Now I will input a border radius. And I'll make it 3 pixels. Now you can see that now there is a border attached to it. Why did the border come? Because the border radius value I was using is actually to curve this part a little bit, because it was like a squared part, but I wanted to curve it. So that's the radius of the border, right? But now instead of doing that for me, it actually added the border, or it did it and actually add the border. So what I can do is I can say border none, border, and I'll say none. That is, I don't need it, it's not important, right? So now you can see you can't find it again, right? So this is like a very easy one. Then I can come here and I can say form and the button, right? Then I come here and I copy this, paste it over here. I copy this, I paste it over here, but instead of making it, I make it 10, right? Okay, let's see how that goes. So I also copy this and paste it here. Sorry, this is not border radius, this is border right. So I'll have to change that to border. So I'll copy this again. Then I will like have all this, right? Then I paste, then I change it to 10. Let's see how it looks now. So it looks something, it looks in this manner. So before we use HTML, you see that this button was not looking good at all, right? but now the button is looking amazing. Now we can change the spanning a little bit smaller. Let's say 0.5. So depending on the, okay, it's not even saying as if we even remove something. So let's check the weight. Let's say this weight will be, the weight is originally 100%, right, because of the border box. But now let's say the weight is about 80%. Let's see what happens. Now you see that the button is not centered again, right? It's not centered, but someone might use this and come up with a very nice design. Just make the border to be equal with that. Sorry, 3. Someone might use it and come up with a design. It looks very nice. You just have to space it a little bit using the margin, but you can use margin top. Let me show you something. Margin. So margin top, right? So margin top, you can use 5 pixels, and that's like shifting the button from the top, right? Because there are a lot of space here. Someone can look at this and say, oh, this is nice, just add some little styling, right? But you as a person, you might not want to use it. So you can say display flex, right? And you can see say align items center, right? So now we have used that to center the button, but you can see that the text is not even aligned, right? So you can say justify content center, right? Now you can see that the text is aligned, that you are justifying all the content will move to the center as well. So now you can see that we have a centered form like this. So we can add some little more things to this box to make it wonderful. But I hope you learned something. Now with the semicolon in this, you can actually write your code like this without any error, because the semicolon is actually telling the computer that there is a line break and this is another line. But if you're writing like this, it doesn't look professional, right? So you can see that it still gives the same result, not too much, right? So what I want you to do, like an assignment, is that you should go over to your editor, write down this property I've used, test them individually, maybe using a text, using something else. Test them very well, be perfect with them, know how to use them, how to work around with them, know when they works and when they don't. To know how to manipulate them is to know where they work and where they cannot function and where they can, right? So you don't make the mistake of trying to use them and you see that they are not working out for you, right? So you just do that, and I'll be doing my next video on a lot of things. So today I've covered some of the basics. So I want to just add something. Where is the input? So this is the input. So we have what we call outline. So you can say red, solid, and 2 pixels. Now you can see this is an outline outside it, right? So I'm just showing you guys a little bit of property. Now you can see the border we said none. We can do something. We can say yes should be, the background should be transparent. Now you see that there will be no background. Now you see how it looks. Now it's only the border that there. Now we can say color. There are a lot of things you can do with CSS. The color should be white, right? So people can see it because there's no, right? Now if you type, you'll be typing in white, right? So now you come over here and the border we said none, right? We'll come here and say border bottom So border bottom, can say that will be 2 pixels. Which color will be good? Yeah, 2 pixels solid. Let's use white. Now you can see that the border is white, but now the others are still like they are still there and they are showing off that black vibes. So we can do something else there. Let me check if I can add a border button style here. Style. Let me check. Okay, it didn't work. So now the rest border should be 0. Now you can see it. Now we only have we only have the border bottom, right? You can see how this looks. It looks really amazing. So there are lots more spices you can add to this stuff to make it very nice. So we'll be learning a lot more later in this video. Thank you. Please like and follow, subscribe. Give me in the comment section, maybe you're a programmer, because I see programmers are really supporting my videos on TikTok and on YouTube. You guys are really wonderful people. I appreciate you also. Please, if you're a programmer or you're an upcoming programmer and there is something you wish to learn, JavaScript, HTML, you can be a help in my content creating career. Just give me, throw that in. And even though I don't know, because I don't say I know, or we keep on learning day by day. So even I don't know about that stuff, I'll make sure I learn just to help you out to create that content so you benefit from it and others benefit from it. Thank you for supporting me, guys. Have a great day.